It's not moving a little bit. Why it's not moving? Okay. Right, okay, just a little bit about myself. I know, yeah, good looking, isn't it? But unfortunately, you can't see my pretty face today. Probably next time. Yeah, and then move on to an overview of today's session. I would like to quickly set a background and then go into the topic of coaching. I also want to tell about the outcome after my experiment and do a little bit of reflection and wrap up, hopefully, all in a logical way, although I can't really think logically right now. Setting the scene is I have been dealing with students from different directions, module teaching, of course, facilitation supervision, but also having the as their personal academic tutors, so pastoral care. And often I have students who keep coming to me having different questions. So I give them the answer and then finding that they keep coming back. I thought it was the most efficient or easiest way to deal with the situation. But actually what happens is I found that they keep coming. So I don't know if you have students like this, probably you have. What is your approach? And I'm not going to do a poll today, but you could just enter, answer probably in the multiple choice in the chat box. So A is you just give students answer swiftly, move on. Secondly, tell the students to look for the answer themselves. And third one is tell them I'm busy, so go away, or something else. Perhaps just quick, I'm aware of the time, so probably just quick see what your approach will be. I see if I could actually get onto the chat.
Lots of people are saying D and B.
Oh, right. We tell the students look for the answer themselves and D or else. Okay, great. So myself is usually I probably would tend to be A. That's what I used to be. I feel like I need to give them swifter answers, get on top of everything. But actually what I ended up with is the students keep coming back and I end up spending more time trying to answer more questions and stay on top of all the inquiries, which doesn't really work. So start to think, what's wrong with the approach? Why wasn't it good? So let's look into literature. I look into different materials. I found a very useful technique called coaching. Now, probably you've heard about coaching in students one-to-one support, right? I'm not here to tell what coaching is, but I'm mainly to talk about one specific, very unique technique in coaching. It's called role model. And let me go through each steps. First of all, go. So imagine my son, my annoying son, is my student. He comes to me, say, tutor, mom, okay, I want to talk about something. What is it then? Let's agree a topic. Well, I want to have a dog, for instance, okay? So, okay, what do you want to achieve? I want to have a dog because I can become owner. I can have a sense of responsibility. I can look after it. I can have company. There are so many things I can have after this. And the long-term aim and outcomes is ABC. Okay, great. Let's move on next. So what's reality right now? You tell me. Well, I can't even clean after myself, right? I can't get up early and I can't be organized, for instance. Oh, so this is the situation. Now I'll ask him to self-assess. Do you think this situation you'll be fit for having a dog? And also try to avoid assumptions. For example, the assumption could be, because I love dogs, therefore I automatically become a very good dog owner. That's not true, is it? But they tend to have assumptions. So when we talk about goal, is what they want to achieve. It's point B. You ask them to discuss the reality, which is point A. Okay, so now you have to ask them from point A to get to point B. What can you do? What options are? Right, ask them to explore all the options. Okay, son, tell me, what can you do then if you want to have a dog and want to have all these situations? Well, perhaps I can have a dog and don't look after it. No, that's not going to happen, is it? Okay, what's the second option? You might say, well, how about if I have a dog and Mom, you look after it? As it's not happening, babe. I'm not going to do it. It's your dog. Okay. Then he might say, well, I don't know what to do now. This is when we can chip in for the student, give the prompt. Okay. Perhaps you can say, well, have you thought about perhaps having a hamster? You can still become a responsible pet owner. You still have the responsibility, the attached to probably the achievement you want to feel, a little bit routine, the company. It's just you not having a dog. Wow, he said, I've never thought about. Okay, so now he presented two options. I give them probably one to think about. He's got three. You ask him to choose. Now evaluate all these choices. What do you think will be the best for you? And he thought about, oh, you know what, Mommy, I think you're right. I can have a hamster instead. Hey, okay, don't stop there. Ping him down. Okay, now you're having a hamster or going to have one. What are you going to do? So from 1 to 2 to 3, get him really commit to it. This is where small kind of tools like SMART model can really help. So focus on SMART, for instance, and then ask him to identify to achieve this. Do you can think any support you might need? Or you might think, well, what if I go on school trips and there is no, I'm absent? What are going to do? Well, I probably need your support, Mum, for a couple of days. Yeah, happy to do so. I can do that, right? Any obstacles? Well, how about if I go on school trips? Mum, you're on business trip. What are we going to do? There is nobody in the house. Okay, let's identify the obstacle. What will be the solution? We have a loving, caring, maybe neighbor. Maybe we have a mum's, say, colleague who can help. So those are the solutions after we identified obstacles. Okay, so next one. A quick wrap up. Within this GO model, very interesting and important key is effective questioning. So you lead the way by asking questions, not just general questions, but efficient and effective questions. So you guide them through. And I'm not going to read the slides. Basically, often there is no right or wrong answer. And we don't have to get to the bottom of it. And often as a teacher, we're there to prompt, lead the way. We don't have to have the answers. If a student comes here to say, I've got a financial problem, often I can't have the answer, but I can guide the student to evaluate and to decide what can do from A to B. Yeah, so this is some tips you can think about. And a regrow model. So basically it's, if you want to go a bit further on it, basically it is the grow model I just said, and plus kind of a bit extra. So it really from the previous session. So, okay, last time we talked about having a dog. You decide to have a hamster. Now let's sit down and let's talk something else. Okay, so what do you want to achieve now? He might say, well, I want to talk about now having the second hamster. Okay, so you really start the process over again. Okay, so that's easy to understand. And then this is where you can actually systematically connect different sessions together. And each session is like a reflective cycle, and it doesn't have to have an end if you don't want to. And it's very more integrated framework. Okay, so now the result of that is, I found this very interesting, is it gave me a lot less workload. Students tend to be more confident, more kind of, autonomy. But I start to think, why is it? So look at this probably diagram. I don't know if you feel familiar with, okay, certainly when I was a student, I was like left-hand side very much, one way, traditional way. But What about you? And where do you think coaching stands? So not only about which layout looks more familiar to you, but which layout do you prefer for yourself and for your students? So I think this is the last second slides now. So further on, it is very much after my reflection, it's about the traditional and contemporary approach, where we know the old paradigm is really not good in enhancing students' confidence, independence, autonomy. Especially my study right now is about motivating international students. This is particularly relevant to international students. We have some speakers talking about international students particularly. But the new paradigm is really much the opposite way. That's why I think in coaching, through effective questionings, is very much enhancing students' confidence, autonomy, and independence. So just to wrap up, when we say, when you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but when you teach the man how to fish, you give him food for the life. It's the same thing with coaching. You give students this ability and you put them in the driving seat. And we are not a problem solver. A lot of times we don't have the answer. A lot of times not about right or wrong, but we are the facilitators in this process. Yeah, this is important how we can pull back and really be aware of our position. And last point is often being neglected, not only by the students, but by us as well. Is by effective questioning, although it sounds like I'm asking you a question, but actually, have you ever thought about this is a format of feedback? If you use effective questioning effectively, we actually can close the feedback loop. So that's all I want to say, talk about. I'm so glad I kind of like one time, but thank you very much and do stay in touch. And sorry about today again, but I'm really pleased I did it. Any questions, please?
Thank you so much, Anne. In the interest of yourself, just making sure that everything is okay, and also keeping to time, I'm going to suggest we don't have any questions for now. But if you do have a question for Anne, can you please put it in the Q&A, and Anne can look at those kind of at her leisure. That would be great. But Anne, that was an amazing talk. It really was. I absolutely loved it. It's and I know the reactions that were coming in throughout that. Everyone can relate to those examples that you were giving. And when you talk about putting students in the driving seat, that's exactly what we want, isn't it? It's giving students that kind of self-directed, independent, kind of intrinsic motivation, and that's what we're all striving for. And I think that the way that you've done that, the way that you set it out, and the steps are just fantastic. And I think that can be really beneficial for everyone. Sarah, we will circulate the slides after, so everyone can have a look at the references that Anne has provided. So sorry, Anne, I interrupted you there.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to everybody who left very lovely messages. Now I can sit back and relax now.
Thank you so much. Everybody. Thank you, Anne. Thank you.